Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. Let me tell y'all something, man. Derek Chisora, he's been adopted by the Saudis. You listen to Derek Chisora, man. It's like F. Eddie Hearn. And he's showing that in his behavior, the way he's always been outspoken, but the way he to me has been, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with him. He's been, to me, disrespectful towards Eddie Hearn. And just really showing his butt. Now, for those of you who are coming on late to all this when it comes to Derek Chisora, Derek Chisora he's part of Prince Khalid's team as far as Skills Challenge promotion. All right, so he's involved with trying to grow boxing in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But when that was announced and he did an interview, one of the things Derek Chisora said, this is back in January, right? He said, basically, I just want to, crap on, and he said the crack, blah, 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 right? You can figure out what word he was using to describe, white people, right? And I'm not saying I agree with the language, what I'm giving you is a direct quote. So basically, I want to crap on the, crack. He's like, I just want to take the piss out of Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. Now they have to come to me and ask what they can do. I'm an adopted Saudi man, so Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, he just started laughing. Now, I'm going to tell you what, right? Saudi is continuing to try to stake their claim in boxing, and they're becoming louder and louder and louder. When you got Chisora on board, you have a voice, and this is someone who just doesn't care what he says. But what I want to point out when it comes to this whole thing with Derek Chisora, right? Did y'all not notice Eddie Hearn was clearly bothered by the things Chisora was saying? What Derek Chisora is giving us, people, is a peek behind the tent flaps of what goes on behind the scenes, the things that only the fly on the wall would know, that we always talk about on this channel. Chisora is letting us know, look, they didn't even want him to fight. Eddie Hearn didn't want to pay him. Now, I'm going to tell you, I can't blame Eddie Hearn for not wanting to pay Derek Chisora to put him on a fight card. And maybe Eddie Hearn's worried about Chisora's health. Maybe Eddie Hearn's worried about his business and saying, hey, Chisora, he's past his days and his shelf life has expired. Why would I put him on any more cards? So anyway, Derek Chisora, right? This is where it goes back to that quote about saying, "Hey, basically, I want to crap on the what, right?" He had Prince Khalid put up the money for him to fight on that card. Now, this is what's crazy. This is what's crazy, man. For a split second, I sat there and I said, "Why would Eddie Hearn put Chisora on the card if he didn't want him?" And then I had to remind myself, this is all about the secret society, key decision makers behind the scene, and money. And Eddie Hearn, let me tell you, Chisora knew that he could get anytime. Let me tell y'all something. Anytime Eddie Hearn has a fight card, and if Chisora wants to get on it, Chisora will get on it. Chisora's not retiring anytime soon. You know why? Because Eddie Hearn may not pay him, but Eddie Hearn's going to put him on the fight card and let the Skills Challenge promotions pay him, because Eddie Hearn doesn't want to burn that bridge, because he's looking at himself, and if he lets his emotion get involved and say, you know what, F Chisora, he's not on the fight card. He knows that could ruin his relationship and business dealings with Saudi. So he's like, you know what, whatever. Yep, we'll create a spot for him. He can fight whoever he chooses to fight. They're paying him. And, as long as we keep getting to do business over there with Saudi. And the thing about it is, and this is why I say Chisora's going to fight for a long time. It's not like Eddie Hearn's just looking to have one fight in Saudi and be done. So that way he's like, we'll let Chisora fight now. End of this year, we get what we need, and then we're done with our relationship with Saudi Arabia. No. Eddie Hearn wants to have a long-lasting relationship with the Saudis and keep having fights over there. And as long as he wants to keep having fights over there, and Chisora wants to fight, Chisora's going to be on any fight card that Eddie Hearn's putting on that he wants to be on. Simple. Okay? So it's interesting for me to sit back and watch this. But Chisora is real disrespectful, man. And I'm not saying I disagree with him. I'm just telling you, for me watching that, I'm like, man, this man just says anything he wants to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn doesn't like it, but you can see Eddie Hearn's holding back because I think he's afraid to ruin his business dealings with the Saudis because he knows Chisora can easily, and he probably knows that Chisora can easily shed more light on the crap that Eddie Hearn has done over the years and is doing present day. I'm not saying I feel sorry for Eddie Hearn at all. What I'm saying is, when I watch that situation, to me it's just bad. It's just bad, and it's just crazy to me. Even when you think about what's going on with Dillian White, Chisora knows something. He's not giving us the whole story, but he said he told Dillian White basically, look, man, you're effed. The tests and everything. But it just makes me wonder if they weren't going to put Chisora on this fight card, but Chisora was able to get on anyway and get paid, right? What else has gone on behind the scenes that we're not privy to? And I think Chisora's already kind of let the secret out the bag when he told David Haye. I believe he told David Haye that Dillian White's going to fail the drug test. I believe, I'll tell you what, when I sit back now and look at everything, how it's playing out, he said Dillian White was going to fail the drug test. And he ended up failing a drug test. 2 weeks before the damn fight. That's crazy for them to say that Chisora's the one who's going to be fighting Anthony Joshua. Eddie Hearn to say that wasn't true. Chisora to say, no, that was true. There were talks, and Anthony Joshua to say that it was true, but he said that's too much respect for Derek Chisora. And then for Derek Chisora to come out here and talk about how he wasn't going to be on the fight card, and he's not getting paid by Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn doesn't want to pay him, he's getting paid by the Saudis. Let me tell y'all something. You got to have an open mind when trying to process what's going on. But I just think it's a matter of time before things come tumbling down over there in Eddie Hearn's world, and Chisora's going to be the one to bring it all down, because he says just enough to make Eddie Hearn squirm, and then he'll stop. And you can see Eddie Hearn's face just like saying, okay, what's he going to say next? So for me, it's interesting, but we're gonna see how this whole thing goes. He's fighting Gerald Washington. If he gets beat down again, I don't know, but it's I don't even feel sorry for this guy, man, anymore, because he's doing what he wants. He says what he wants. So if he goes and he gets banged up and hurt in there, I mean, that's a choice he made. But just keep paying attention. Derek Chisora, abducted by the Saudis. Look, he's involved with matches getting made, and he's involved in a lot of other things. But let me tell you, Derek Chisora is that fly on the wall that will talk. I wouldn't be surprised if something else goes on with him, and I'll save that for another video. But that being said, pay attention, people. Pay attention to what's going on. More to come with Derek Chisora, Dillian White, Eddie Hearn, the Saudis, paying him on the... When have you seen fighters not get paid by the promoter who's promoting the fight card? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I'm aware of that ever happening. It just shows you the power of money. And with a guy like Eddie Hearn, he's going against everything he believes in. But then again, he just believes in money from what I gather watching him and listening to him talk. But you can tell it goes against everything Eddie Hearn really wants to do. He does not want to have Chisora on that fight card. But he has to, because he has his own agenda with the Saudis. He can't burn that bridge. Crazy. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. And is Chisora in a position now where like he said in that quote, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren have to come to him and ask him what they can and can't do. Because what Chisora basically did here is tell Eddie Hearn what Eddie Hearn was going to do. And basically, he bossed up Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn doesn't like that. And as long as Eddie Hearn's looking to work with the Saudis, if Chisora wants to somehow interfere with Eddie Hearn's fight cards, he can do it. And it's interesting. I think Eddie Hearn's going to reach his breaking point at some point in time, and all hell's going to break loose. And Chisora is going to be that fly on the wall that talks even more about Eddie Hearn's stuff, because he went on record to say Eddie Hearn's a piece of, isht. And I just think it's a matter of time before he starts talking. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Very, very interesting and entertaining. Kind of sad at the same time, but it is what it is. Keep cool. I'm in the breeze.